Hello, Facebook worlds and all the people. We're down here for the second episode of Have a Cup of Joe with Old St. Joe. We're at McCoskey Coffee. Amazing coffee and lots of fun, yummy snacks. 705 Edmond Street, St. Joseph, Missouri, 64501. I want to give a shout out to our St. Joe ambassadors. We've got Justin, Russell, Mike, and today we have a special guest. Our technical director is Rebecca. So we're happy to have them down here. Thanks again to McCoskey for having us again. It's always a good time to be here. And we have a really special, awesome guest today. We have Trey Rowe, who grew up in St. Joseph and moved away at some point to join the military. And then I think landed in Georgia, if I've got it right. He landed in Georgia and then started collecting St. Joseph memorabilia back in 2010.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and pass over. I'm Toby Lawrence, your host. I'm professor of cinema at Missouri Western State University, and our Old St. Joe program is an applied learning program, and we're really excited to share it with you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Trey. He's going to tell us a little bit more about himself and show us some awesome goodies.
Awesome. Thanks, Toby. I appreciate the opportunity to come here and kind of show off a little bit of St. Joe's past, St. Joe's history, and the way that I guess embrace that is through finding memorabilia, relics, and collectibles. So a little bit about myself, like you were saying, I grew up in St. Joe, went to high school here, or graduated high school rather, and joined the Navy out of high school, moved away, went to college in Warrensburg, and in 2009, 2010, we moved down to Georgia, and I was homesick, and one of the ways that I started collecting antiques at that point, just in general. One of the things that I discovered was St. Joe, had a lot of rich history and antiques. So that's when I started getting into the St. Joe antique advertising collectibles.
So were you doing that while you were in Georgia? You were actually collecting St. Joe memorabilia while you were not even here?
Correct, yes.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So I remember one of the first items I bought, my wife and I came back to St. Joe to get married, and went to Jesse James Antique Mall on the north side of town, and there was a Getz Country Club beer 10 sign there. At the time, it was a lot of money, to me at least, and it had sat in the antique mall for several months after speaking with some collectors, but I pulled the trigger and bought it, and that's kind of where my collecting journey began. And I put an ad on Craigslist, and I met Bob Nash, who really opened my. He passed away about a year after I started collecting. A lot of collectors around town and history buffs know Bob Nash,
right,
or knew of him. But I went to his house, and it kind of opened my eyes and blew my mind. He literally had signs. I mean, his whole apartment was covered in collectibles. So that really got me into, I can really explore this and hopefully find a lot of cool stuff. So that's when I started, and I've been doing it for 12 years now. A lot of what I do is signs.
Right.
But today, so given the limited space we got here, I brought a few smalls. So I think the idea is to just slowly introduce these.
Yeah, I did have one question before we jump into it. So Jake's Steakhouse.
Yeah.
You got a lot of signage in there because every time I'm in there, like, oh my gosh, look at all these signs. Yeah. It's a great. So you've got.
Jake's Steakhouse. I'm glad you brought that up. Dee, the owner of Jake's, I was introduced to her through a friend, and she was looking for a few St. Joe items to decorate the restaurant with. Slowly, she got more into it and decided she was going to go all out and to decorate the whole place in antique advertising, and specifically St. Joe stuff. So my friend Jerry Porter and I, we supplied, I don't know, probably 90% of the decor in there.
Wow.
It looks really good. It's awesome.
Yeah. And that combined with, in my opinion, some of the best steaks in town ever. Like, I love the steaks there. They're amazing. The broccoli and everything.
Great food, cool beer.
Great food.
Good time.
So what did you bring today for us?
So what we have here is it's a collection of, they call them bullet pencils, and these would have just been promotional giveaways. These are all from the St. Joseph stockyards.
Oh, wow.
So a gentleman, I forget his name, but he passed away maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. He worked at the stockyards for over 40 years.
Wow.
And this was his collection of pencils. So it took him 40 years to build this collection up. To find this many pencils from like the same location would be an impossible task today. I mean, it's truly a one of a kind and unique collection.
Right.
So I just like the variety, the colors, the sizes, the different advertising, the fonts, and everything that goes along with it. There's a lot of people who the stockyards.
Russell, are we able to get a little close up on that, or are we all the way in?
I get closer.
Okay.
The stockyards are a sentimental place for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard recently there was the stockyards have been sold, and then there's been talk about perhaps it being torn down. Am I?
Yeah, I read something about that this week too. Looks like All Ball bought the building. I'm not sure what the plans are with it, but
hopefully not to tear it down, because
right.
it is an amazing, like you said, an amazing piece of history of St. Joe.
That was the center of commerce back in the day.
That's right, absolutely.
So yeah, this is just a collection of bullet pencils.
Beautiful. Thanks.
Nice variety.
Need a hand? Got it.
Thanks. Let me grab this.
Okay. Oh, this is fun.
Yeah, so this is a
What do we have
old
here?
tin sign from Dumke and Hund. Company name changed several times throughout the years, but this sign dates to about the mid-1880s, and to my knowledge, it is the oldest known beer sign from St. Joe. So amongst collectors, a lot of people in town collect Getz Brewing memorabilia. It's probably the most collectible brand in St. Joe. So this would be a highly desirable piece, not only for the brewing history, but bottle collectors. It's got the bottle on it, the early bottle. And here it's a little rough, but it talks about all the different flavors that they bottled. And down here it's got the combination of Milwaukee and St. Joseph bottled beer. Just a unique piece. This hung in the old D&G for decades, and then when they closed in 2009, I think it was 2009, it's before I started, right around when I started collecting, they had an auction, and this was auctioned off in that sale.
So just out of curiosity, something like this, obviously a huge piece of St. Joe's history right here in front of us. So in consideration to, you have all of these objects and items, so something like this in particular, what do you do? Because can I touch it?
Yeah.
It feels like metal. It's metal, right?
Yeah.
So what do you have to do to preserve it? Yeah. So that is there anything you need to do to keep it?
Just keep it in a safe location.
Moisture, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. A lot of these things, essentially our entire house is filled with St. Joe memorabilia, and this particular piece sits on a shelf in my basement, and it's kind of tucked away in a corner, nobody even can really pass it or access it by walking by. You can just see it on the shelf.
Right. And you said the 1880s?
Yeah, that dates to the mid-1880s. It's
I just can't believe that it's not rusted, completely destroyed.
Right.
You can actually read, it's legible.
Right.
That's pretty wild. That's pretty amazing.
It's really hard to find early advertising, especially that early.
Right.
So it's a really one of my favorite pieces.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's why I brought it today to share.
Great. So what else you got?
So we'll continue, I guess, on the beer train, if you will. So this is an old shaving mug.
Oh, yeah.
It belonged to William Getz.
Oh, wow.
So William Getz was the son of Michael Getz.
This was his mug.
That was his personal shaving
Oh, my
mug.
gosh.
That was found in a local antique store that's since closed, but I couldn't believe it when I saw it. And to think that, so Michael Carl Getz started Getz Brewing in 1859, and William took over on his passing around 1900, and he basically flourished Getz into a million barrel a year brewery, essentially serving beer, or distributing beer rather, to all the states west of the Mississippi. Huge St. Joe influencer. So to have his personal shaving mug is just
Can I
kind of a
touch
unique.
this?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Just a unique piece of history. It's something personal.
again in the shape, the condition. Can I?
Yeah,
Or would you
absolutely.
mind turning it for me real
Yeah.
quick? I just want to see the front again. Wow, that is. Russell, can you see that? Can I put my hand on it? Okay. I'm like nervous, like holding this thing. It's such a history.
Yeah, it's. I mean, this guy literally supplied jobs to hundreds of thousands of people, and that was what he woke up every morning and used.
That's amazing.
To shave his
What
face.
it's such a personal item, but yet
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. So we'll continue. I should say that a lot of the collectibles from St. Joe, Getz did more advertising than anybody. So there's a ton of Getz collectors out there, and a big portion of my collection is of Getz memorabilia. I thought this was important to share. This is a cone top beer can from late 40s, early 50s, and
So they had we
unique.
already gone to the tab pull or whatever?
this would have had a crown on it or a cap.
Is that the way they did it back then? I mean, like
Yeah.
if it wasn't bottled, then it was, and if it was in a can,
Right.
it came like this. I didn't even know that
So
before the pull tab. I always thought it was always pull tab, but I guess
pull tabs were introduced maybe in the late 1950s.
wow. So this was the
The first
way they
beer,
did it.
yeah, the first beer can was produced mid 30s, and cone tops were introduced in the late 30s, and they were popular for about 15 years.
Now, is that steel or what is this material?
It's tin or steel.
So aluminum probably hadn't been in really manufactured or really.
It wasn't introduced for beer cans maybe into the 1960s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I remember like old Schlitz or something, Coors or something, were in these steel cans or
Right.
heavier duty cans
Right.
before they were actually like where you could crunch it and throw it away
Exactly.
or however they did, right?
This one's cool because it also pictures the Pony Express on it.
Oh, it
On the
does.
sides.
That is cool.
And,
Russell, can we get a close-up on the Pony Express on there? Maybe flip it around so you
Yeah.
can see it. Here it comes. Little Pony Express on the Country Club can.
So it pays homage to St. Joe's past, which I think's neat.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And that was their slogan at that point, famous since the days of the Pony Express.
That's neat.
This one's
That
kind
looks
of
fun.
Yeah.
What do we got here?
This is a desk set, is what I want to call it.
Okay. Hilliard.
Yeah, so Hilliard Chemical Company, they've been around for decades, over a century now. Your pen would have been held here, a little compartment for whatever little paper clips, thumbtacks, whatever the case may be. And then I set these on here just for display purposes, but
Sure.
these are the personal match books from the Hilliard family. One in particular here that you guys will be familiar with, the Missouri Western, is Jack Spratt. Is it Jack Spratt
Yeah.
Stadium still?
Yeah.
At Missouri Western. So this was his personal match book.
Spratt Hall.
E.C. Spratt,
Wow.
quote Jack.
Oh, so they have, they literally have the names on
Yeah,
it.
they literally have the names.
Russell, can you see
of the
that?
family members, yeah.
Can I touch it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to move this up here. Maybe you can dial in on that. They've got the names on there. That's pretty cool.
So they would have been promotional items. They would have given them out to customers, and that's how they remember where they got the matches.
Now,
hopefully called.
speaking of Hilliard, the building where they're at now, maybe you know, maybe you don't, but the main building that's up here, my understanding is that's kind of that and the courthouse, the courthouse are basically where Joseph Rubidoux initially when he landed that was the kind of zone. He was right there.
Yeah.
Like the original hut and all that stuff.
Yeah,
It's
Ruby
right.
Rose just down the street.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great.
So yeah,
That is neat.
Hilliard's been around forever. Great company. Another Hilliard advertising item. This is a brush advertising their Shine All brand. A lot of the things that are collectible were just simple advertising promotional items from back in the day that people would hand out, and a lot of it got tossed over the years, but a lot of it got kept.
Well, it's funny that the promotional items stand the test of time, but sometimes the actual items themselves are gone.
Right.
Like they no longer exist or whatever.
Yeah.
Just interesting to think about. That's pretty cool.
This, I'll shuffle things around here.
Sure. And again, I just want to give a quick shout out again to Mokoska. This is one of their fancy mugs. We're down here at Mokoska. Come down, drink coffee. They make the best coffee in town. That's right. And they have snacks and all kinds of good stuff. And awesome people that work here. And we think they're awesome. So thanks, Mokoska.
This is it's a combination bottle opener and spinner. It's advertising Hundenegger, which was a bottling company here in town. And if you zoomed in closely on the finger, it points to somebody that pays. So essentially,
You pay.
this would be sat on the table at the bar wherever. You'd spin it, and
Oh my
wherever
gosh.
the finger points to would be.
Wait a minute. So is this where like maybe
Yeah,
spin the
this is-
bottle?
Yeah,
Spin the
it's a
bottle.
version of spin the bottle.
Oh my gosh. Okay, who's going to pay today? Let's go ahead and spin it. Oh, it looks like Justin. No? Give it one more spin.
Yeah, give it a good spin.
Uh-oh. Who's going to pay? Oh, Russell. Russell's going to pay. Russell pays today.
So
Or
it's
Rebecca.
kind of a unique little item.
Yeah, that is cool.
Cool. Going back to the stockyards, this is a miniature advertising stoneware jug, and it advertises Witten and I think it's Tracy Stockyards, St. Joseph, Missouri, South St. Joseph, Missouri. Handles broke off. It's a little rough, but stoneware in particular is extremely collectible. There's a lot of heavy stoneware collectors. There's organizations just dedicated to stoneware collectibles. I've passed this around to a few different collectors, and I believe this is an only known example of this jug. We're not going to talk a lot about prices, but
Sure.
Something like this could be anywhere from $100 on the low end. It's got the damage to well over thousands of dollars.
Wow.
So it's, even though it's small, it's a pretty
It makes-
valuable and collectible piece.
It makes me think too, like about like where whether it's an antique store, or like finding these items, these relics. Someone goes, you know what? I've had this thing in my basement for the last 100 years, or whatever, my family home or something. I've always been wondering, and maybe you know, maybe you don't, but I wondered when they tore down the wire rope, that whole giant area. I wonder if anybody went over there, like looking to see if there were artifacts or anything.
they did,
like,
yeah.
Did they find? You think they?
Yeah, I'm part of a group on Facebook that they call them privy diggers.
Oh wow.
And these guys just essentially go and dig up old sites where people would have thrown their trash and waste away. And
Which is gold now. Like
yeah,
I mean,
a lot of it
finding
you find
something like
bottles and things like that
Wow.
just buried in the ground.
this. And don't you personally have a website, don't you, where you share a lot of this stuff, or
Yeah,
your Facebook
I have
page?
a Facebook page called St. Joe Mo Relics.
St. Joe Mo Relics.
And
So make sure to go there, check it
yeah.
out.
So share a lot of the finds on that page, and I share a lot of stuff on my personal page too. That's how I've gotten my name out there as someone who's willing to, I'll pay for your unwanted St. Joe memorabilia and items. I've had a lot of success digging through basements and attics
Right.
here in town. This next item I'll show you guys.
Okay.
It was found in the basement of a local tavern.
Oh my gosh.
And it's advertising St. Joseph Brewing Company, which was a brewery here up until Prohibition hit in 1919. This particular mug is extremely rare. There's only, to my knowledge, a few examples, and I couldn't believe I found it in this old tavern basement a few years back. It was just in a cardboard box amongst some Budweiser Holiday Steins that are essentially not worth anything, and then you
Wow.
got this extremely rare beer mug.
Spin it to me, or that Russell, go ahead and get a close up on it.
It's got a little damage, but it's still, again,
That's
really
cool.
collectible.
Can I see? You might shake it this way. Wow, that is awesome. Russell, did you get it? Oh, okay, great. So we got, looks like we got time for maybe one or two more.
Sure.
You have so many items. Again, let's plug your Facebook page one more time, because you, like I said, he has so much stuff. We can't even possibly scratch the surface on everything you have. Hopefully, we can maybe have you back as a guest again, and dig out some more goodies.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't.
Oh boy,
show
here we
off
go. Here we go.
Old Macoska coffee.
Oh, here
pail.
we go. Macoska.
Yeah.
Old Macoska coffee pail.
This would have been used to just carry the beans from one account to the other. And yeah, unique piece. It's advertising, I think, Golden Santos coffee, 5 for 1, Macoska St. Joe.
Macoska Mills, that's great. Here we are in Macoska with a Macoska bean jug.
Yeah, bean jug.
What
exactly
bean jug?
right.
Would that be appropriate?
Yeah.
You got a good view on that one, Russell? Awesome.
I think this one's cool. So some people know, some people don't know.
Can I touch it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
STP motor oil was invented in St. Joe.
Was it really?
Yeah. And, you know.
I remember shirts. We had STP shirts.
Yeah, 3 guys invented it in a garage here in town. And if you go on Wikipedia, you can find all the history behind it. But the garage still stands. It's got a little plaque on it that says STP motor oil was invented here. And this is one of the products from when STP was still made here. They eventually sold to the Studebaker Corporation in the early 60s.
And that is full.
Yeah, it's full oil can.
So this one, we've actually got a relic that has the old oil in there. I don't suppose you could use it, but you wouldn't want to, right?
Yeah, probably not.
No, leave it in there.
Yeah, you can always look on the
cool.
side. You'll see it says, chemical compounds, Division of Studebaker, St. Joe, Missouri.
Wow.
So that was just after they sold to Studebaker.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Russell, did you get a good one on that? Great. Maybe.
Well, you pick one out. I mean,
Okay, I'm going to pick one. I'm going to say this thing's been speaking to
Okay,
me. What do we got here?
So these are advertising items from Aunt Jemima Mills, which was here in St. Joe. Ultimately bought out by Quaker Oats, I think, in 1928. But
Wow.
these 2 on the end are recipe booklets, and then the one here in the middle is just I think it's a postcard or a trade card advertising Red Top
Can I
flour.
touch this?
Absolutely.
Okay, so inside are the recipes, like if you were to obviously take it out of the protective sleeve,
Yeah.
it opens up and folds up to here's the recipe.
Yeah.
So you're holding like these secret recipes perhaps
Yeah, the past.
of the past. Oh my gosh. Russell, you able to get these?
So yeah, we got Fiddle and Bow flour, Red Top flour, and then they got some other brands that they made. Royal No.10 was another brand. But
So is that all milled here as well? Like,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. Back in the day, St. Joe had it. Not that we don't have a huge manufacturing presence now, but back then, I mean, this was a massive operation.
Right.
With
That with the beer and
nationwide-
everything else.
Yeah,
I mean, it was really some
Really
thriving industry.
industrious, exactly.
Why don't we do one more and your pick? Since I picked this one, you pick
Okay.
one more.
We'll do this one.
Oh, I guess we can. There you go, sir.
So this is a advertising. They call it a bill hook. So this was detached. You hang your receipts or your bills off that hook. And this particular one advertises the Western Dairy and Ice Cream Company, which was a dairy here in town, actually just down the street.
Is the building still around or no? Or
I don't think I think it's a parking lot now. Down there where I think the Highland milk trucks are. But this one's just got great graphics.
It does.
Great color. It's got the little boy and the ice cream carton, and he's has an ice cream cone. And this material is called celluloid, which is another collectible category for people. It's just a very cool subject matter with the ice cream and the boy and the colors, and it was all this stuff.
And what's
back
that on
then
the
was
back?
Utilitarian.
so it was like a little.
Yeah, just the manufacturer of the actual bill hook.
And are you able to get a close up on that one, Russ? Flip it over on the front side. Yeah.
I mean, it goes on and on.
Sure.
I've probably got 700 to 800 pieces of advertising from St. Joe in our house, and hopefully one day I'll be able to put it all on display somewhere for everybody to enjoy. That's my hope and dream.
So Trey, thank you so much for being with us today. Like I said, hopefully we can have you back again. You've got so many other things to show. Any final words for St. Joseph or the Facebook group?
Just stay positive, put out good vibes. St. Joe's is a great place to live, and like this little fob here says, used to be the city slogan, St. Joseph, the city worthwhile. And I really like that. I grew up here. I think when you grow up here, you want to move away, then you move away, and all you want to do is come back. So St. Joe will always hold a special place in my heart, and that's why I collect the St. Joe collectibles.
Yeah, this stuff's amazing.
Thanks. Appreciate you having me, too.
Hey, thanks so much. So thanks everybody for tuning in. If you came out to our live show, or if you're on Facebook land, really appreciate you coming out. This will be available, obviously, as soon as we wrap. We'll have the live stream version, but we also have been recording a multi-cam version of this that will be available up on Facebook, and the Old St. Joe YouTube page will be archived there, so you can see the multi-cam version as you've been watching the single cam version on Facebook, unless you were here live and then you saw the whole setup. So thanks everybody. We'll see you next time. Have a great St. Joe day.